Hi all, this is Crafting Anonymous, and I am going to show you today how you can take a 25-cent vase and turn it into something beautiful. And I mean, I'm telling you, beautiful. So what you do is first you want to clean it up, and then if there's any chips, repair them with some wood putty or plaster putty, whatever it is, the material you're using. And then I like to use a plaster paint as a base coat before I get started, and this is to cover up what the existing paint is. And hey, if you're watching for a first time, can you click that subscribe button? I'd love to have you come back and visit me. I'd appreciate it. So I'm just taking that, and what I do is I use a heat tool to dry it before I turn it over. And you want to be careful, really careful, because if you lay it on a surface, you're going to rub that paint off, because it really doesn't set, perfectly for, even though you're using the heat tool, for, overnight or 24 hours is the best. But to go ahead and continue on with the project, I need to give it a little help. So I'm going ahead and getting all the sides, and it really is helpful when you have a Lazy Susan to work on. And as a pad, I like to just use puppy pads. I turn them upside down. Depending on what I'm doing, I'll turn it over one side or the other. And so this side, I like using the plastic side. So now I'm just going ahead and getting the other side coated. And really, that's all you're going to need to do to get started. Now, I was going to paint the inside, but it's a green color, and I don't mind it at all. It's not going to really show if you're filling it with something. It's not a bad color. It'll look fine with the project, and it's already sealed. So the way that it was painted and glazed, it's a glaze. It's going to keep, if somebody puts water in, it's going to keep the water in. And I don't know, if the paint, if I were to use it, if it would seal well. So now that I've got the edges all done, tidied up, you saw I have two of them. I got each one for $1. It was a set. And the other one is going to take me another day. I had to fix some cracks. This one has no cracks, so I was able to get that one ready, and tomorrow I'll work on it. So I got this really cute napkin, and the sad thing about it is it's only got the print on one of the quarters. And so I'm going to use this napkin with some polyacrylic. And a lot of people use Mod Podge or glue, but the polyacrylic really is really something nice to be using for doing napkins and any kind of thing, because the napkin is so thin that the polyacrylic will go through it, and especially when you're brushing it on, that you're basically sealing it while you have it. So I just am opening up my polyacrylic, and I also have a piece of saran wrap, and I'll show you what we'll do with that in a second. I also have my heat iron, and you can use an iron, as long as you don't use a steam setting, you can use any kind of iron or travel iron. I have a handy dandy crafter's iron. And what you do is when you get the napkin, you rip the edges, because it blends nicer when you're adding others. It's almost like you're piecing pieces together and just doing a mosaic on it. And if you tear the edges, it just blends nicer. So it gives it a look where it doesn't look like a fine line, so you don't even really see it. And so I like those little sponge brushes to apply my Mod Podge or polyacrylic, and they wash up really well, so you can reuse them. So what I did was I'm just putting a little on, a little at a time, so that I can see how it lays, because if it doesn't lay right, I'm going to tear off the pieces that aren't laying right and use them with something else. And if you hadn't noticed, this video, it took me about 1.5 hours to do this, but I sped it up so that you wouldn't have to see. And you get the idea, because I'm going to be doing the whole thing, the whole vase. So isn't that looking nice? It kind of looks like marble, doesn't it? It's beautiful, that gold, that shiny gold. And you can do this for holidays. You can do it for special occasions. You can find napkins of any kind. And especially if they have a scene on it, then you don't even have to worry about having the ability to paint. You can put, basically any napkin there is, you can do it. Now you want to make sure when you're doing the napkin, you take all the layers off. Some of the plies. So some napkins are 2 ply, some are 3 ply. This napkin is really thin. It's kind of a cheap napkin, but as long as I'm careful, it's doing the job and it's beautiful. So this one was only 2 ply, very thin. So it's a good thing that I prepped it with the ivory or the plaster color, the plaster chalk paint that I put over it, and that's my go-to sealer or base coat. And see how nice that looks behind it? It actually makes the napkin pop. You usually will use a light color behind a napkin, and unless there's some other effect you're looking, but it's just kind of play around with it. So, see how it's not laying down all the way, and so I'm just using my water pen to wet it and tear what I need so I can just coat the inside. And then I'm tearing here because I don't want a big fold, so I tore a piece off because I didn't really want it to fold that bad. But because of the type of pattern it is, any little creases you have will really make it look good. Now see how I'm using the iron on there. Now it looks like I'm rubbing. I'm not rubbing hard. If you rub it too hard and get the edge on it, you're going to tear it. And I will end up doing that in a second, so you'll see me patching it up. But the good thing about napkins is you can patch them. You can patch, see how I'm patching, well, I'm patching up at the top there. You can just do patchwork throughout the whole vase. You could just tear a bunch of little pieces and patch them on if you're not using anything with a pattern. I'm having the napkin, the lines go vertically because I like that. So you want to be consistent with the way that you're laying that out. Now again, hey, if you're liking this, give me a thumbs up, like this, and share it with anybody that you might want to see that might be interested in learning how to do this kind of napkin work. And don't forget, subscribe if you haven't. And if you are subscribed, hey, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Really appreciate you. And so again, this is Crafting Anonymous. And I'm very new to YouTube at this point, so I'm appreciating you being here and watching. I'll be putting a lot of different crafting content on here, so check us out. I'll be trying to do at least 2 posts a week. And depending on if you have any interest in seeing certain things, I love to experiment. So if there's something that you want to see done, let me know. I'll see if I can do it, or maybe I've done it, and I'll just repost that video. And I love thrifting. That is my big thing. Right now with the holidays, I've been doing a lot of holiday work, just Christmas and starting with the fall and then Halloween, and now I'm doing Christmas. But I really get my most enjoyment out of doing thrifting and repurposing. So this is what I'm doing today. I got this. I love to go to thrift stores, and what you do is you go and ask them when they have their specials. Like when I went to the one thrift store that I frequent, they do a 25-cent day. And so they'll do different items like children's clothing, household. So on this particular day, it was a household item day. Everything was 25 cents. So I went in and I think I got, so I got $2 worth of things. So that was 8 things. So that sounds funny, huh? So for $2, I was able to pick up 8 items, and 2 of them each was a vase, 25 cents each. But there are things that people don't want, and when you see that when this is done, you're going to see how beautiful it is. So these were made in, somebody had scratched in on the bottom. I think they were handmade for somebody. They painted them and put some kind of decal or something, or painted some, I don't know what it was. You saw that. But in 1964, October 30, 1964, so 49 years ago, that's how old this is now. So my husband was saying, hey, that's an antique, but there's just sometimes things that are just old, and they are considered antique, but it's not something that somebody would really collect. So it's the same vase. If you wanted to restore it to the original, all you have to do is soak it in some water and get the paper off and lightly sand it, and you'll be able to get back to the original. But I think this is looking beautiful, so why would you do that? Although I have seen crafters before accidentally craft something that was worth hundreds of dollars, and because they didn't research it, and it's like, oh no, that wouldn't be a good thing, would it? So anyway, so if you were able to buy that from the crafter, you could take it back to its original. Because a lot of the paints we use are water-based, and so if you were to soak it, you'd be able to get it off. Anyway, so it's just looking really nice. I can hardly wait to do the other one, so I'll be doing that one next. But I won't be showing it because you don't need to see the same thing twice, right? So anyway, so back to what I was doing with the thrift stores. I've also had days where, it's usually, I won't spend more than $1 or $2 for something. That's just how I am, because I'm there for a bargain. So a lot of these thrift stores are kind of gouging people. They know that people are in there collecting things, so they'll give you good deals on clothing, but for certain items, they're just overcharging. So you just really got to shop. You'll just find something. You'll see me when you come and watch my videos. You'll just see some of the things I find. I always let you know how much I paid for it. And not to say that I wouldn't pay $5 or $6 for something, but it would have to be pretty good, size, or something very interesting that I would want to repurpose. So I'm getting this, now I'm patching up little areas that I'm seeing that might have like bunched together while I was ironing it, or might have torn a little bit, and when I was removing some of the napkin on the curves. But this Minwax polyacrylic is just awesome. It doesn't yellow. So there's polyurethane. If you use polyurethane on things, it tends to yellow over time. Minwax, the polyacrylic, it's not polyacrylic, it's polyacrylic, that does not yellow. And so it is a go-to to many crafters. I just started using it. I was afraid to use it because it just seemed too chemical for me, but it isn't, and I love it. And if you're really worried about it, wear gloves. Now, you saw me using the saran wrap. I forgot to tell you what I'm doing with that. So when you put the napkin down and you get it where you want it, you don't want to rub it with your hand. So if you put a piece of saran wrap over it, you can rub your fingers over the saran wrap as long as you have it tight. So you don't want to rub it underneath the napkin, underneath the saran. You don't want to rub the napkin underneath the saran and have it rub. It will just rub it off. So having the iron works really well. It sets it, and it keeps it from bunching up. But you have to also not rub that too hard. And if you don't have a little mat like I have, you can use parchment paper. Parchment paper over the napkin with the iron, and that's all you need. So you don't have to have these fancy things. That other mat that I got, I was able to find it at a really good price, so I bought it. It was only a couple bucks. So, I'm thrifty, I'm messy, and I love to craft. I should have called my page that, right? My channel that. So yeah, you'll see how messy I can be in some of these other videos. Luckily, this one I didn't have to use a lot of paint, so therefore it wasn't that messy. But if I were using a lot of paint, my hands it would have it all over the place. So this is almost done, and it's looking so beautiful. If even close up, it doesn't look like a napkin. And it's just, and you're seeing that the pattern doesn't matter because it's just squiggly lines. It's marbly. So it's just unbelievable. So I got a pack of 20 napkins for $2. So you want to shop around and look at napkins. A good thing to do also, if you're going to use napkins for a lot of crafts, is to buy them at a closeout sale at the end of the year. So you'll be able to find a lot of deals on that. So you can wait till after the holiday and buy them, or after the season and buy them, and then just set them aside for next year. So that's generally what I do. Also, a lot of us crafters communicate with each other and we share things. So we share our, we call it Happy Mail, where we'll send things off to each other if we have an abundance of something, and it's something it's just how we are. The crafting community is amazing. So again, this is Crafting Anonymous, and please, if you haven't subscribed, hit that little subscribe button. Give me a thumbs up if you like it. If there's any content you want to see me do, put a comment in there and I'll let you know if I can do it or when I'm going to do it. And I do like to try a lot of different things, so it's not, if there's something out there, there's a good chance that I've done it, or I can tell you why I wouldn't, and I can tell you where to get, where a good place to get supplies and stuff. And tell me if you like to do thrifting. Where do you thrift? I thrift in Tennessee. So generally, and then if I'm driving someplace, I will always stop off at yard sales, thrift stores, estate sales, and pop in and see what I can find. That's how much I love it. But I feel more satisfaction out of turning something that was unwanted by someone into something so beautiful, and it's just as if it had a personality. It got a facelift. Happy crafting, that's what I like to do. So it feels really good to do that. And I'm almost done here. So again, I thank you for joining me. Share this with your friends or coworkers or anybody you think might be interested in learning this. And if you have any tips for me, we learn from each other. Look how beautiful that is. I am just so happy with it. I'm just going around the edges with some more of the polyacrylic just to make sure they're all sealed on the inside, and seal up that can because I don't want to spill it and I don't want it to dry out. So I'm just giving it a little coat with what I had on the brush, making sure there aren't any edges that are lifting up, and I'm just, see, before and after. Thank you.